All right, someone caught this in the comments, so let me go over this quickly, hopefully. The differences between abrading, swiping, brushing, scrunching, and similar activities. Okay? So, when I was explaining the swiping that I normally do in a lot of my videos by doing this, right, it looked like I was indicating that I was just brushing the edge, right? But the movements in the video were just, how should I say, expedient. All right, we can start splitting hairs, which is fine, but there's not going to be any clear distinctions, precisely clear distinctions. So we can split hairs all we want. There's going to be ranges and crossovers and combinations of these different aspects. But pretty much what I meant when I said that I use swiping is when I deliberately pause to remove a delicate area with the same motion that I use to abrade or to brush. It's the same exact motion, same exact tool, different results. Abrading produces dust. Let me try to get this straight. Abrading produces dust. Brushing produces shatter. Swiping produces flakes. Okay, and those pieces get progressively larger and larger. All right, dust is the smallest flake, shatter is the next biggest, and then flakes are bigger than that. Now, it's a matter of scale also. Some shatter is bigger than other shatter, some flakes are bigger than other flakes, some dust is larger than other pieces of dust. So if you start splitting hairs, it's going to get confusing, and it's unnecessary. They cross over into each other. There's not clear distinctions between them, and you can produce all three with one strike. You can produce a flake, you can produce shatter and dust, all with one flake attempt, or one brushing attempt, or one abrading attempt. The attempt and the actual happening are two different things, right? The intent and the actual happening are two different things. We're discussing basically the result. When I'm talking about the sizes of these different particles that are coming off when I'm doing this general motion, okay? I'm glad someone caught it, because I was thinking the same thing after I posted the video. This is going to get complicated. But swiping basically is flake removal, like that one right there. If it removes a flake, it's a swipe. But it's also helping to create a stronger edge by removing a delicate area, because there was a protrusion there that was pretty delicate. All right, and if I stop to pause and remove a flake, okay, swiping removed that flake, although the same motion was also creating shatter and creating dust. Okay. Okay, let's see. So let me do it. Let me go over this one more time. See, there's three different types of things going on there. Abrading, which creates dust. Brushing, which creates larger pieces like this and other pieces of shatter. And then when I hit a little bit harder and more deliberately, sometimes with a pause, but not necessarily, I produce flakes. Okay. Now, the shape of the tool is important too. A flat spot creates all three of those things. Of course, a rounded surface can create all three of those things as well. So you see what I mean about splitting hairs. It's so easy to get caught up in the fine details and nuances, but it's not really necessary. But it is necessary to make a clarification, because some of these terms are used in archaeological texts and people really don't know how these things are produced. They don't know how the dust is produced, or what they're talking about exactly, or the shatter and what they're talking about, or the flaking. Okay, not sure exactly how they're produced. In a lot of texts, they assume that flaking is produced with all factors in line with each other, like the intent to cause a flake, plus the tool appropriate for making the flake, plus the surface appropriate for creating the flake, plus the result of a flake. But in flint knapping, we all know that all those things are blurred together. You don't always have a straight inline cause and effect and control at the same time. You always have a cause and effect, but the control varies. It can be the only thing you control is the shape of the tool when you're trying to initiate something happening on the biface, and you get, oh, I got only shatter. That's surprising. Or I got a flake, but it's not the kind of flake I wanted. That's surprising. And that sort of thing. Trying to get to the meaningful separation of these techniques and physical motions is very, very difficult in flint knapping. But I'm going to try anyway. And I'll post this video, errors and everything, because I think I might have not been clear, so that we can have a discussion. Okay? A lot of you just watch for entertainment purposes, that's fine. But those who want to discuss, that's fine too. Let's see, what else can I add to this? I often use the abrader as a hammerstone. Let's see, scrunching is a form of abrading and brushing and flake removal. So scrunching is actually a flint knapping activity similar to something like swinging a percussor or pushing with a pressure flaker. You know what I'm saying? It produces all three: dust, shatter, and flakes. And then as you get larger, the flakes are considered spalls and that sort of thing. But we're not dealing with that with this particular method. Although I think maybe spalls can be made with the swiping technique as well, especially when you use a large, gigantic wooden billet. But I think that is more, gets more into another technique where the actual platform digs into the percussor and gouges the percussor to create resistance to remove flake. So I got to explore that in a different video series on using wood, because it's a different dynamic. But as far as this goes, with this particular technique that I'll be using that is called swiping, I'll be using hammerstones and antler. I may get into the metals, probably not, but we'll see. As far as explanation goes, as far as actual videos, I prefer to stick with just the natural tools when I'm explaining this kind of stuff, because that's where people want to see the explanations more often. They do want to see the explanations on the metal side as well, but I get most of the intense questioning on the natural material side. Okay. I'm going to make a point out of this on video, but I'll wait until the next video or one after that. I just want to try to make a distinction between these little terms, and I'm sure there's more in there somewhere that'll mix with these and make it even more confusing. But I'll try to get this ironed out eventually. Okay.